Hey everybody. You know, I was listening to one of Jim Cornette's recent podcasts on his official YouTube page where he reviewed Double or Nothing. And let's just say that he had some kind of polarizing things to say. I mean, there was stuff he liked. Don't get me wrong. There was stuff he liked. I didn't listen to it all the way through, but there was stuff that he did like. The one thing he just didn't get, though, was if All Elite Wrestling, I guess in his opinion, is supposed to be a little bit different, then why do we have an amputee wrestler competing in a battle royal for a shot at becoming the first world champion, along with a transgender superstar in Sunny Kiss, a character in Marco Stunt, small wrestler in Marco Stunt, and basically two hardcore deathmatch competitors that basically, in his opinion, are a disgrace to the business, and that's Jimmy Havoc and Joey Janela, amongst others. I mean, he even criticized Orange Cassidy, which he kind of criticized Tommy Dreamer for basically allowing himself to play along with what Orange Cassidy is known for doing. But the question I think Jim Cornette is asking, or should be asking, is All Elite Wrestling for everyone? Or is All Elite Wrestling for a person like him? Well, like I said, it basically sounds, when you get down to it, and again, I didn't watch the entire listen to the entire podcast, but when you get down to it, Jim Cornette basically sounds like he's alright with it because it does have some potential, but there's just some things he felt that maybe All Elite Wrestling shouldn't have done. The Battle Royal, in my opinion, is one of those situations. Not me, but he felt was, could have been done better. It's like he kind of understood the concept. Even though he probably wasn't on board with it, he understood the concept. He just didn't like the idea that if you're trying to be an alternative to something like the WWE, then why are you, allowing competitors that don't fit your mold of being alternative? And, I think this is where Jim Cornette needs to realize that All Elite Wrestling has a slogan that I kind of mentioned earlier when I kind of messed up a little bit on the question of what Jim Cornette should be asking about this company. I said, is this company for everyone? When more specifically I should have said, Jim Cornette, with all due respect, should be asking if it's for him or guys like him. Well, All Elite Wrestling has this slogan they've been going by since they were announced, that All Elite Wrestling is for everybody. That they're going to do things other promotions have not yet done or attempted to do. Which means they're going to address certain things that need to be addressed. They're going to give opportunities to people that normally wouldn't get opportunities. They're going to basically focus on sensory issues. People that have issues with, let's say, the sensory, like flashing images and all that. They're going to try to work around that and appeal to that audience to help them enjoy. So, the question is for Jim Cornette, is All Elite Wrestling for him? And I think potentially it is for a guy like Jim Cornette because it has a lot of what he would enjoy. I mean, he enjoyed the Destin Cody match. He was cool with that. He obviously, let's see, what else did he like? He liked the women's match. He just didn't like the fact that you bring in Nia Rose and then you bring in Awesome Kong, and the only person or people you focus on is Britt Baker and Kylie Ray. Now, he does bring up the fact that Britt Baker, just like everybody else has pointed out, looks like to be the main woman in their division that they're going to focus on. Which means, honestly, she'll be the main face of that division, or at least one of them, that might be feuding with Brandy. Because if Brandy showed anything at all at Double or Nothing, is she's going to play a factor storyline-wise when it comes to the women's division. Not a very popular factor, maybe, but a factor. But the thing is with Jim Cornette, he's very opinionated. We know that. And he's become very beloved, if not controversially beloved, amongst the IWC and the hardcore, and if not sometimes casual wrestling fan base. Because he will speak his mind and not give two hoots about who's listening, or or maybe sometimes who he offends or doesn't offend. You know, he's giving his straight from the heart, shoot kind of opinion on how he feels about stuff. And like I said, from what it sounds like, he kind of was, back and forth on Double or Nothing. He did address the fact that the production looked great, but the timing seemed to be a little off. Like, there were times that he felt JR, who did a decent job, was kind of feeling lost himself, because he was working with two guys that Jim Cornette barely even heard of. Even though Excalibur has a wrestling background, Jim Cornette basically looked at the fact that you got to give someone like JR someone he could play off of in a big, big way. Like, let's say, a Jerry the King Lawler or a Jim Cornette himself. Someone that can work with JR and go back and forth with him, and JR won't feel out of place. But Jim Cornette basically felt that that's what this Alex guy and Excalibur were doing. They made JR feel out of place. Even though some people have given their opinion about Excalibur kind of helping out and carrying not just this Alex guy, but also helping out JR get to know who some of these new faces were in All Elite Wrestling. The thing is with All Elite Wrestling, when it comes to Jim Cornette's opinion about it, and again, I haven't listened to the entire podcast, but basically, Jim Cornette has the opinion that I'm sure a lot of people share, that All Elite Wrestling, like I said earlier, has the potential to be one of the very best alternative wrestling products today compared to WWE or anybody else, but yet there are some things they have to work on, like the timing behind the scenes and having men and women ready for the spots or for the entrances. And the other thing that I'm pretty sure he would have All Elite Wrestling fix is not always bring in or give opportunity to those that, and he doesn't have any problem with people that want to pursue their dreams no matter what, but not give opportunity and focus on those that can barely do anything in the ring. Even though they could show that they have a few good moves, to him, someone like, let's say, a Dustin Thomas is more like a special attraction. Don't focus on him. Don't put him in a situation that would make it look like he can, end up winning and becoming a challenger for a world championship. Bring him in for special attractions, special moments. He can look at the same way with someone like a Sonny Kiss. He's not too fond of that person, and he'd rather have Sonny Kiss be brought in for something like that's basically a special attraction, just once in a while. The point is, I respect what Jim Cornette has to say. I'm not going to say that the guy is wrong in his opinion. I mean, there's a lot of people that have voiced similar opinions when they've talked about Double or Nothing. But the thing is the question that Jim Cornette has to ask himself, is All Elite eventually going to be something for him to sit back and enjoy? And the question that he has to ask as well is All Elite Wrestling going to be for everyone else? Because, like I said, All Elite Wrestling has that slogan of All Elite is for everyone. And I'm not just saying that because, I'm wearing an Elite t-shirt and all that, and I do hope All Elite Wrestling succeeds. But the point is, the slogan that they've gone by, saying that it's for everybody, to me, when it came to that Battle Royal, and it came to some moments during Double or Nothing, that was just a sample of what All Elite Wrestling is going to stand by. That they are for everybody. Not just for every kind of fan, but for every kind of in-ring competitor. He may not be fond of the Super Smash Brothers tag team, that he got to know in Ring of Honor during their time on HDNet, and when he was part of the management and booking community and all that, and on screen, he may not be fond of that team, but, again, that's his opinion. Not everybody like Jim Cornette is going to agree with some of the decisions that All Elite Wrestling made at Double or Nothing. And there's no doubt that maybe they're going to have to work on some of these. There's no doubt they're probably going to get some feedback on, you shouldn't have used Dustin Thomas in the Battle Royal. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. Because the way Jim Cornette, I think, looks at All Elite Wrestling is yes, the goal for it is to be an alternative to WWE, but to be that alternative that's trying to get back to the roots of pro wrestling, and that's being treated like a legitimate sport, where you could have your entertainment value here and there, but that should mainly be on occasions. Like he looks at someone like a Jimmy Havoc and a Joey Janela, and he's not too fond of the fact that they put the bodies at risk all the time, but yet he'll look at those two and say, yeah, he can respect maybe them doing that, but those are the only kind of, but they, along with Sonny Kiss and Dustin Thomas, should only be brought in, even Orange Cassidy, should only be brought in for special attractions, special occasions, and that's it. Don't bring them in and try to treat them like a regular member of the roster and make people believe that these are potential contenders for a world championship or whatever championships you're going to bring in the future. So in the end, in closing, I'm going to say this. Jim Cornette has a right to his opinion. Anybody else that's thinking on the same wavelengths as Jim Cornette when it comes to Double or Nothing has the right to their opinion. But you got to ask yourself, is All Elite Wrestling AEW for you? And Jim Cornette's got to ask himself the question, in the future, will All Elite Wrestling be for someone like him? That's what he's got to ask himself as well. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are down below. I know I sounded like I rambled a little bit, but I just wanted to get this off my chest in response to hearing a little bit of what Jim Cornette said in his podcast review of Double or Nothing. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.